In 1682, Peter was 10 years old. He stood at a window in the Kremlin and watched soldiers drag his mother's relatives into the courtyard and kill them. He watched and did not look away. Something in him decided, in that moment, that the world was a place you either mastered or were destroyed by. The court sent him away to a village outside Moscow. He was supposed to disappear. Instead, he studied mathematics, navigation, artillery, shipbuilding. He built a small army from village boys and drilled them every day. He brought in foreign officers, Dutch, German, Scottish, to teach him what Russia did not know. At 17, he returned to Moscow, seized power, and became Tsar of all Russia. Nobody was ready. He could have sent ambassadors to learn. He went himself. He disguised himself. Though, at 6'8", no disguise was convincing, and worked in the shipyards of Holland and England as a common carpenter. He cut timber. He drove nails. He learned how it breathes, how a hull is shaped, how a ship becomes seaworthy. The Tsar of Russia, working in sawdust beside men who had never heard his name. He believed you could not lead what you did not understand. He came home and built Russia's first navy from scratch. Foreign shipwrights, Russian timber, Russian iron. He filled his officer corps with men from across Europe, anyone who had the knowledge Russia lacked. In 1696, he took Azov from the Ottomans, Russia's first port on warm water. He had turned a landlocked medieval country into a naval power. It had taken him 4 years. He built a city on a swamp. At the mouth of the Neva River, where nothing should stand, he ordered a capital. St. Petersburg, his window onto Europe. 40,000 workers died building it. Cold, disease, exhaustion. He knew this. He built it anyway. St. Petersburg rose from the marsh like a dream forced into stone. The bones of those men are still in its foundations. His son Alexei was everything Peter was not: quiet, religious, afraid of his father's vision. When Alexei fled Russia and called his father a tyrant, Peter brought him home. He had him tortured. Alexei died in the Peter and Paul Fortress in 1718. Peter signed the warrant. The man who had transformed Russia could not transform his own son, and could not forgive him for it. His wife, Catherine, was a Lithuanian peasant with no family, no education, no noble name. The entire court looked down on her. Peter made her Empress of Russia. He wrote her letters every week when he was at war. He trusted her completely. In a life of iron will and impossible ambition, she was the one thing he could not explain and did not try to. In November 1724, Peter saw a boat capsize in the Gulf of Finland with soldiers aboard. He jumped into the freezing water himself to help pull them out. He was 52 years old. He caught pneumonia that day. He died 3 months later. The man who had built an empire died the way he had lived, doing something himself that he could have ordered someone else to do. Peter the Great was brutal and tender, visionary and cruel. He killed his son and died saving strangers. He dragged a poor country into the modern world with his bare hands, the same hands that had cut timber in a Dutch shipyard and signed his son's death warrant. History does not give us simple men to admire. It gives us Peter. The instruction is not to be Peter. It is to ask what you are willing to learn and what you are willing to pay. He went to foreign countries and worked with his hands because he refused to let pride stand between him and knowledge. He built from nothing because he refused to accept that nothing was the limit. From a country the world had forgotten, he built something the world could not ignore.